seeing my my CV is highlighted. So any reason like
Oh,
you had
you are in
chosen?
trouble.
I
That,
came a little bit late.
yeah, so that's exactly why you got listed.
Oh, okay.
And sir,
Okay,
one
just
small
because,
question. Just a small
Pardon?
question, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, is this is a common class, no, for all? This one.
I don't know. You're supposed to be knowing it.
This
Or
is
can
only for
somebody
section.
else answer for
Yes,
her?
yes, it's a combined class, I think.
Yes, it is.
Okay, because in a group we are getting the messages group A and group B, so that is what this thing.
Hold on. I don't think this is a combined group for class for both section A and section B. This is this HR is only for section A.
No,
Section
it's
B,
combined. It's combined
This
class
is
for both.
marketing class. This is marketing
yeah,
class.
marketing.
Combined
Yeah.
for both.
Combined.
Marketing is
The
combined.
only HR subject is for 2 classes. Rest
Okay.
all
Yeah.
are combined.
MMS. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, I
Okay.
would
Right,
like
you're
to
right.
introduce myself, sir. I just joined yesterday. I have taken an admission yesterday, so I have missed the last session, sir.
Hang on for 30 seconds. Hang on for 30 solid seconds. Okay, 77 of you who have logged in, and I'm not going to repeat this one more time, is that HR, I don't know, or maybe I do know, HR and marketing, you have combined classes. More specifically, marketing is a combined class. You don't have a split. Okay? So I guess I will not have any more questions on this subject. Okay? Perfect. Okay, now go ahead with your introduction.
Yes, sir. I'm Khurat, and I just took an admission yesterday, so I missed the last session.
Yeah, okay. No, I don't think, yeah, of course, you did miss a part of it, and that's technically 16% of the thing you missed. But yeah, we will we'll try making up for you with a 30 seconds or a you have these Aaj Tak and other guys have what is called the speed news or something like that. I'm sure you have seen all of these speed reporters do a speed news thing, so we can get there. Yes, Anushika.
Yes, sir. So, last time you have mentioned about the book. So, is there any other book with easy language which you can take it?
I don't know if I ever mentioned a book. Did I mention a book?
Yes, Pearson, if I'm not wrong.
No, Professor. I think you have not mentioned any book so far.
Okay, maybe I got confused. So, can you recommend any book?
Yeah, we'll get there when I'll recommend at the right time.
Oh, okay, sir.
Right now, the only thing I would like to recommend is that you pay attention to my classes,
Sure,
and I'll
sir.
get you the book at the right stage. Okay,
Okay, thank
good.
you, sir.
Right now, let's get on to work. And thank you very much for doing for getting in here. Let me arrange the part going. Okay. Yesterday's class, or the class that we had 2 weeks back, we did a brief intro to what is marketing. I just ran through some of our conversation as to how your class is likely to look. I told you that we will be pulling out a lot of questions, case studies from very reputed colleges and universities like HBS, Ale, or lots of them. All of you now even have access to the assignment 1 questions. So don't shoot questions on that. We will get there at the right time. So and also we did discuss as to what actually characterized a marketing activity. We had an introduction to various things that go into skills expected out of MBA students like you who will get out in the next 18 months. And most of it, as you would see, is the ability to work together, meet deadlines, and do that, something that you will start mastering over a period of time. And We also talked about a few examples that we went along. I asked each of you to do a 140 character resume, which we discussed. And just a minute, please. And we did talk about where are we here? We did talk about how your class is likely to be worked around. I'm going to give you a lot of classroom assignments. I've seen 3 of them so far. You will have the 4th one later in the class. So there'll be lots of classroom activities that will be done. And because these are classes online, I would be liberally using the Google form for this. There is a WhatsApp group in which you can talk to not just me. You can talk to a lot of other professors. Okay, done. We talked about how products, promotion, and things like that, but we need to move along. We also discussed about companies which did well during the pandemic, while their own sectorial companies seem to have done bad. You even had questions on that. I have that listing with me to look at how have you all done. Okay. We talked about marketing being the only activity which has a loop back system. We keep the basic difference between marketing and sales is that you sell a product and just get out. Whereas the marketing is where you even seek, just a minute, please. Okay, is where you seek customer inputs to either improvise your product or correct the product that you have. Mute, please. Then we went through this. Just let me know where did we last stop. We looked at the price to consumption curve. I just want to. Okay, let's start off the class right from here and quickly run through it. We all know one of the basic things that we learned all along was that when the price of a product fails, there are more people going to be using it. One of the finest example is the price of bandwidth falls and more people are using their mobile data services, and even there is a greater spread of the consumer. So that is one fundamental thing. So price falls and consumption rises. There are challenges to it because beyond a point, if the price falls, we might even doubt the product. But if the price rises, we might even believe more in the product. The product must have the product must have something unique about it. That's why there are price rises. That is one other example. This is the key subject that I wanted to bring in, is that some products sell well even at higher prices. Some products don't sell well even at a lower price point. The reason being is that Hari Prasad, can you mute? Okay, the reason being is, see, that's the reason why we could lose focus on conversation. Okay, good. Is that marketing makes a product sell well? Marketing or lack of marketing makes the product not sell well. We all know about it. So now let's get along with it. What are the types of marketing? Now we get into the subject. We had not come to this chapter or this one. There are all kinds of marketing things. Cities are being marketed. Visit Dubai is a very interesting marketing phenomena. Or whole state is being marketed. For example, God's own country is one way to market that. Or a person is marketing himself all the time. I mean, we just went through a huge marketing campaign of Joe Biden and Trump, each trying to market himself more than the party that he or she represents. And there is always events which get marketed. There's huge campaign into the Olympics or into any event that is there. Political, we don't have to say about it. We see it all the time happening around. Social causes also get marketed. End polio now could be a social cause. And right now, there's a huge bombardment of social marketing insisting and that we maintain what are called social distancing and other keep healthy norms. Products and services are being marketed would be an understatement. All of us are sitting out there and seeing these kinds of marketing happening around us. Okay. Some of the marketing CEOs, these are some of the finest characters that we know about. We will now, we all know who is Richard Branson. Richard Branson was the guy who started off Virgin Airlines, Virgin Mobile, and lots of other things. He himself is marketing his products very well. I mean, I don't think there's a need for any other entity to market his products. Closer home, a more at one point they used to say that Mithun Chakravarti is the poor man's Amitabh Bachchan. So I don't think you guys belong to the Mithun Chakravarti era, so you wouldn't like this joke or understand it best. Similarly, the poor man's Richard Branson is Vijay Mallya. He would be one of the finest examples for Kingfisher or UB or the products or entities that he worked for. Steve Jobs is another good example that we have of somebody who the product is synonymous with him. The moment we say Steve Jobs, you start thinking about Apple. And the moment you start talking about Apple, you obviously look at the contribution that Steve Jobs has done to mankind in terms of design perfection and ease of use. I would not go to ask you name a few because we have to get over this particular page before I get to the next one. Beyond brands, the very, very important. Now, this is something I want to say. Which brand would you miss if it disappeared? I'm trying to get a new method of trying to find out how I get people involved. Anywhere between Mukhtar Ahmad, Neena, Neha Yadav, can one of you give me any one brand which you think you will miss it if it just disappeared, or you will feel very hurt?
Lakme, sir.
Lakme, you believe that it's so dear to your life, and very good. That's interesting. And anything else? Anybody else? Let me go further down. This is the new way that I will try to adapt. Raghu Kurapati or Rajat Sahu. Anything else that comes to your mind? Any product that?
I would say OnePlus mobiles.
Okay, you mean OnePlus is so deep into that they are quite close to us. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Alan Soli?
Yeah, Reliance, sir.
Reliance as a brand. Are you in love with the brand, or are you believe that the brand is overpowering you, or what is the thing?
Yeah, it overpowered. Like the Indian GDP, if we say Reliance is boosting our economy in such a way, and Reliance is the best one, and the survival of Reliance will be boosting our economy or our different industries in India.
Perfect. Good job. So what happens? How profitable are these companies? Obviously, Lakme or Alan Soli. I don't know much about Alan Soli per se, but Reliance, yeah, they're hugely profitable. For the reason is that you become the brand ambassador. Just the way Neha or somebody mentioned that Lakme, these are products that are so close and dear to us, and for Reliance. Now we become for Reliance and for Jio, we become the marketing people for Reliance and Jio. And no better example than you proudly wearing a US Polo t-shirt or a US Polo shirt and proudly displaying the brand name. Or if it said diesel, or if it said something else, is that you're so proud about it that you are a walking marketing tool for that company. But would you buy or proudly wear a T-shirt which said Ramraj in bold letters? Very unlikely. Very unlikely is because that's a brand in which you may not have a deep love and affection towards. And I know I have said this before. If you have, it's more likely that you will make it known to your friend that you are wearing an Apple Watch, and you may not be making that so evident if you're wearing a Samsung watch. So that's the kind of a branding that we are talking about. Companies which are like these, companies which are like Lakme, maybe Reliance, or in a broader sense like Apple or US Polo, they don't have to advertise much because you do the advertising. So brands play a very, very important role in all our lives. And I don't know how many of you know this big, huge outlet in London called the Harrods. It's a unique shopping experience out there, and maybe quite a few years back, if you went to London and you did make it a point to buy anything from Harrods because you wanted to flash the bag that you had to let people know that you actually went and visited there. So something like that. So going beyond that point of discussion, what is good about and what do you dislike about marketing? I'm not going to make it an interactive session now. We'll get into interactive when I get to the next chapter. The thing about marketing is it's always telling me that, Ramesh, your phone is outdated, you need to update your phone, or the fact that you need to buy yourself a better product. It's always making me spend more than what I can afford. The very, very example of the Galaxy S Fold is not telling you the price, but he's telling you that you typically spend 13,999 for an MI brand, or you spend one every month and you will have the finest phone that the whole world is waiting for. So they make you spend. Then there is brand differentiation where it doesn't exist. What does that mean? Brand differentiation where it doesn't exist means that salt, Tata Namak versus Safola Namak. Now, what are you talking about? This is just Namak is Namak. So why would you go to such an extent? There is, you know, I know, and we all know that bottled water is just bottled water. It doesn't really matter from where it comes, but you're doing a huge differentiation between one brand and the other. The third thing about it is, they promote materialistic lifestyle. We all would like to lead simple lives, but marketing doesn't allow you to do that. They ask you to go get yourself a higher value card, or upgrade your car, or buy new clothing, or travel to another place. They are pushing you all the time. And third, and maybe fourth, or whatever in this order that we have, lots of things are illegal are also being sold there. I know that they are talking about pan parag masala or pan parag whatever thing, but they are talking as though somebody is very patriotic or his love for cricket is beyond a point. And it's not important whether the product is legal or illegal for the company which is marketing it. They just want to get that going. Then, of course, there's social discrimination. Is that are you in a PVR gold class, or are you in a PVR economy class? That matters a lot. But how does it matter? We're watching the same movie. So you are doing a lot of social discrimination. You know what IPL seating is all about. So these are some things which people tend to have a dislike about marketing. That said, there is always the flip side of the story all the time, because marketing lets you know what is available. They make you have a better lifestyle. They make you do trade. When trade happens, business happens. When business happens, economy rises. When economy rises, our salaries rise. and our spending ability rise, and our standard of living improves. Obviously, everything is there. It helps build a better lifestyle. It helps you know that such products exist. I was, when you're looking for something, you don't even know how to search for a product. You go there and you type, and then you type on Google or wherever, and then you know such a product exists. But if they were marketed, you would probably find it a little more easier. So they and of course they generate jobs. We all know that the more you buy, the more you sell, the more you manufacture, there are more jobs brought about. And there's no greater statement than saying that awareness. Marketing brings in a lot of awareness. It tells you what your social responsibilities are. It tells you what product A is delivering, which possibly product B is not delivering. So, and again, social marketing, we've discussed about it. There's always good health, and that's now become the topic of the day. Um, Okay, revive graying audience means.
He's a very good speaker. Please.
Hey, who is this? How do I get some sense into all of you? Can you mute? Is it so difficult to mute? Or I can have a universal mute and I have no interaction? Okay, you are attending a class, so please take effort. You know what happens is that I lose the conversation, right? But never mind. Let's go ahead. So this is what is there. Finally, we are getting into the subject. What's the time now? Almost 2 o'clock. Yeah, we're getting into a subject. This is what we will be discussing over the next five odd classes. With overview of marketing opportunities. This is what it is. I don't have a book per se. I will recommend books to read, but for now, I want you to pay attention to what I am teaching. Okay. We will. These are again. We will discuss how these things go along. What is marketed? I'm going to get this over. This one. How many of you you can do? Raise your hand kind of a activity saying that how many of you know what is a Maslow's pyramid, and how many of you would want me to talk about the Maslow's pyramid? Okay, maybe you can type it out there. Would you want me to talk about the Maslow's pyramid? Don't know. Very good. One no is good enough for me. We can go ahead. Okay. Now let's stop. Okay, now let's look at, then I need to go a slide below. Okay. We discussed this subject, which is saying that goods, services, people, ideas are all being marketed. That's very nice. It's good to be marketing these products. But then what happens in a marketing economy? In an economy, as you can see, there is a link between one activity to the other. But we'll not go into this. We'll go into this in greater detail sometime later. But for now, let's look at a man. Let's look at man or human or sapien as whatever that is that we are talking about. Each of us are in different stages of our life. Some of us are struggling to make an existence. Some of us believe that we have reached and my next step is to go to the Himalayas. Some of us are in a statement that I want to flaunt and let the people know that I need to upgrade my car because I need to tell the people that now I have a better job and I have a better standard of living. Each of us are in different phases of life. Now, Maslow's was one individual who tried to put together in a structured format to let us know as to how do we categorize the human impulse, the human thinking, the human feeling of where he or she is located. Incidentally, okay, I'll come back to that later, but basically, what does man need? There was always this joke, or not this joke, but there was always a fact of life that kapda roti, kapda, or makan. Roti, kapda, or makan are the basic things man needs. Without them, survival is very difficult. Over the last 10 years, over the last 5 years, definitely over the last 3 years, roti, kapda, makan has one more element, which is broadband, right? So man needs roti, kapda, or makan, and broadband. You may not have food, you may walk into a restaurant, you may walk into a resort. The first thing that you're going to be asking him is, you will never ask him, do you have clean water, fresh food, and warm bed? That's not the thing you will ask him. The thing that you will ask him is, what is the Wi-Fi password? So we have all now seen to reach a stage where a psychological need, a very basic need for a human being, is to have the food, water, rest, whatever this is. Once these are there, and once these are assumed, and when I keep telling you, when I move up the chain or when I move up the pyramid, I want you to start visualizing people. I want you to start visualizing, maybe you're looking at a beggar, or maybe you're looking at somebody who's an unskilled man who is making his life across, and then looking at a place, a work which would give him food, water, and shelter. So the more you visualize, I'm sure you will get a better grip of the conversation. Once this is done, as you would have noticed in mankind, once this is done, you want to secure what you have. You want to secure the job that you want to have. You want to secure the food that you want to have. You want to keep it safely. You don't want to give away the cave in which you are staying, right? That cave is mine. That is my makan. I'm going to stay there. I'm willing to fight with another human being, but that is my place where I'm going to be there. So the one is the psychological need, and second is the safety factor. The third is loving and belonging. Man is not an island. Man is a social animal. We all grew up with a basic thinking of two sentences. Man is not an island. It's impossible for me to stay alone. That's why quarantining can give you lots of psychological or mental depression, is because man is a social animal, and man is not an island. We need people. So, but when do I start talking about socializing? Once my psychological needs are met, once my safety needs are met, I want to be associated. I want friends. I want a life partner. I want to have good association of friends. Maybe I want to join a few clubs and organizations where I want to be shown as somebody belonging, and who also have some people to connect with. But then, if that is done, the next thing that I want to demonstrate, is that having reached these levels of greatness or these levels of belonging, I want to demonstrate that I have now in a position that I am better than somebody else. I want to show the esteemed position that I have. I want to show somebody like Akhil that my car is better than your car. Or I want to tell Abhinandan that, oh, you are driving a two-wheeler. I'm driving a two-wheeler, but that's a Royal Enfield. So I want to demonstrate that I have now a position of esteem. That's when you start differentiating, looking at people and closely as to what is the brand that he is having. Those things like brand, those things like the quality of life don't even come at a psychological level. Finally, with all of us, there is reaches a position of what is called the self-actuation. What does self-actuation mean? Is that I believe that now I am in the sunset of my life, or I have now reached a position where none of these matter. Narayan Murthy does not get the same kick that you and I would get when we go and pick up an Audi car. Narayan Murthy gets greater pleasure if he employs another 500 people. Or if who is the greatest or Bill Gates would get greater joy if he were to support the eradication of the virus through some of his programs. So each of us are in different stages of our life. I could right away go and ask you on this list, maybe somebody like Deepak or Debolina, is to where are you? But then it is up to us as we get into a marketing activity to say, where do we position the product that we are in? Now let's say I ask you to go ahead and sell plain bread. I don't know which company makes bread, quality bread or whatever that is. You know that you cannot go and sell bread to somebody who is at the position of esteem or self-actuation. You will have to look at a target which is lower, somebody at the psychological level, maybe also at the safety level. But let's say I want you to, I give you a product which is like ISKCON, what is that? Akshay Patra. What does ISKCON Akshay Patra do? It feeds 100,000 children every day. So I want some donation. Who do I go to? Would I go to somebody who is looking for love and belonging? Or am I going to go to somebody who is in the safety zone? No, I'll go to somebody who is now at a position of self-actuation. And I go tell him, look, you've reached all these levels. Why don't you? So this is where we use these learnings in our marketing activity. So randomly, I'm willing to pick up 3 audio questions. Go ahead, if you have any. Perfect. Yeah, makes sense. So we will now then move into the one additional conversation, which is needs, wants, and demands. Very, and we will put these learning to our use in the coming chapters. I'm not going to spend too much of time, but then you know the very famous statement which said that earth has enough for your needs but not for your wants, right? There's a father telling the child, saying that I can take care of your needs, but if there are wants, you will have to grow up, earn for yourself. So there are needs, there are wants, and there are demands. The needs are, the best example is a hungry man needs rice. A man beyond hunger still wants to eat, would want to eat a better quality food, would want to eat fried rice. Now, the better demand would be, I want to eat fried rice provided it's made out of basmati or provided it's made out of India Gate or something like that. So you have needs, wants, and demands. Now, depending on what my product is, I might be touching that particular nerve of yours and fulfilling that demand. So I could have an MI phone which would give you serve your need, but somebody wants to go beyond that. So I might come up with a OnePlus phone which wants, but somebody wants the best of everything. That's when I come up with a product which is probably gold coated, or it's something else more unique. So this is what I wanted to talk to you all about. And I had one other subject that was very important, because we might even have a few questions coming up on this, is that every product, just like mankind, just like you and me, has a life cycle. What does that mean? Is that products live, products go through teenage, project mature, and they eventually die away. We have had lots of such products. And would any one of you want to give me? Okay, we'll probably go there. Can any one of you give me products which are right now in the dying cycle? Somebody starting with S. Anybody on the S cycle can want to comment?
The BlackBerry.
BlackBerry. Where is BlackBerry now? In the cycle, in the product life cycle, is it in the early stage or it's in the dying stage or?
It's in the dying stage, sir.
It's in the dying stage. Okay.
It's almost out, sir. It's in a dying stage.
Yeah, it's almost out. Correct. It's almost out in the dying stage. Can you now then somebody in the T series? I think I have to do this because I hope there are not too many. They're not T at all. QRST. Okay, let's get the V cycle. Anybody who believes he or she knows a product which is in the initial stage of birth. We don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be premature death, or it could come out to be the finest product known to mankind. But can any one of you with the name starting with V think of a product which is in the just initial stages?
It's Vikrant here, Professor. I think future retail is going to be a good scope for point of investment.
Okay, that's good. So you believe that despite all the turmoils, future retail could still be a good investment and it could go forward. Okay, that's very interesting. So all of us know what is a product life cycle. The product life cycle consists of 4 cycles. One is introduction. I think I need to wear my glasses on. Introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. In the introduction stage, even you don't know, even the user doesn't know how this cycle is going to behave. The growth cycle is the period when you have maximum performance. Your performance is going to be brilliant. You're going to be running. There's going to be huge profitability. People are going to be lining up to buy your product. Maturity would be a period of time when more or less the uniqueness of the product is gone. People are no longer excited about it. It's time that the best and the finest examples, and possibly the only example which fits in, was in a world of ambassadors and premier Padminis. When the Maruti came in, it came in as a breath of fresh air. People were too greatly excited, and the introduction stage did very well. The growth was superb. But over a period of time, there were similar kind of models that came in. There was Hyundai, Santro, and all of them came in. The joy is gone, the sheen is gone, the uniqueness of the product is gone, and eventually it bites dust. So this is what a product life cycle is. You may have a question or 1 or 2 on that, but it's now the world is very different. The world is different. Now products are virtual products. We talk of hundreds and thousands of apps that are coming in. And you will notice all along in my class is that you have what is called an old theory, and then you have a new theory. What is the time now? Okay, you have an old theory and you have a new theory. The product life cycle is old theory. I'm sure all of you knew what is product life cycle even before you walked into an MBA classroom. So maybe I should look at your chat messages. There are quite a few of them on the thing. White Hat Junior online, Starlink from SpaceX. Oh, that's brilliant. Maybe I should keep this also, but that will crowd my. Yeah. Okay. Let me see how this goes. Okay, good. But now the world is very different. We have to look at hundreds and thousands of apps are being done. Hundreds and thousands of new products are coming up. Cameras, absolutely, is a brilliant example of they are dead. We were excited about it, but now they're just gone. So there's a new thinking that's come up. What is that new thinking? The law of diffusion of innovation. What does that say? Is that product life cycle is one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is to look at what happens when a product is released. Hang on, all of you on your chat for a moment and pay attention to this. What happens when a product is released? Let's say you come out with a product called, I think I have an example here. Yeah. How many of you know, you can just type an S on the chat box. How many of you know what is M-Fine? I just picked up M-Fine because it looked very different. And I thought some of you may know. Yes. Okay. There's one or two yeses, which means most of you know. So M-Fine is now the new. Why do I bring in M-Fine? It's because I know these guys, and I know some of them who are funding them. So that's the reason why I brought this up. Now, M-Fine is a newly introduced product. There are very, very few people using it. Now, the ones who are using it are the ones who are known as the innovators. What are the innovators? They are a set of people, possibly with deep pockets, possibly with greater spending power, possibly with a more innovative mindset. They'll always download new apps. They will always download new products. They'll go buy products. For example, the moment Wi-Fi bulb was introduced, why would you want a Wi-Fi bulb? But you don't know. If somebody goes and buys it the moment it's there. So innovators are normally constitute 2.5% of the possible market that can be there. Now, M-Fine, the moment it sees a lot of people downloading their app, cannot, Siska, correct, a lot of people downloading their app cannot assume that the app is going to be successful, because this innovators, the job of innovators is to keep on downloading. The job of innovators, I was among the first guy to pick up an Alexa. I was the first guy to go into what's called the BSNL broadband connection. So there are set of innovators who always keep on buying products which look new. But a company which is going there cannot assume just because 2% of the people bought it that it's going to be there. The better example would be that when you move away from being innovators to be early adopters. Who are early adopters? Early adopters are not innovators. Early adopters are the ones who think a little bit before buying a product. They won't just jump in and say, let's pick this up just because it looks interesting. They would do a little bit of a research, they would do a little bit of understanding, and then they move into the product. The early adopters. So once you move to an early adopter stage, you can to some extent assume that your product is getting a lot of visibility and you are likely to do well. You're likely to do well. Now, from early adopters, the next phase is a very important phase. It's called the early majority. Now, what does early majority mean? That somebody like Sumit will never buy a product. Sumit will only buy a product provided Vibha recommends. And now, who is Vibha? Vibha is some of the early adopters. Vibha goes, buys a product, tries it out, and then when this product is in the market, it's most likely that Sumit or somebody would ask Vibha, hey Vibha, what is your opinion about this Alexa? Do you think I should buy it? Then Vibha will say, it's very good, it's helping my kids, it's helping do my job better. But Sumit will never ask Vignesh, because Vignesh belongs to the innovator kind. Vignesh is always trying out new things. Hey, don't ask Vignesh, because he's not a reliable guy. He's always buying all kinds of things. So you understand where am I trying to drive our conversation is. Now, when people like Sumit, who are the early majority, when they start buying the product is now more or less a hit. That's where the tipping point happens. The tipping point happens where the early majority start buying the product. Once the early majority start buying the product, there is no longer huge marketing activity required. There is no longer huge promotion required. If you remember, there was a time when, if how many of you will be able to recall this? There was a time when, let me put this on for myself. Okay, there was a time when Uber and Ola would give incentive to you for every ride you took. Uber and Ola gave incentive to the driver for every ride that he completed. Why were they doing it? Because they were trying to convert early adopters into early majority adopters. Now, do you get incentives for the completing of the trip? No, it's because you're no longer relevant now. You are now an addict of Ola, you're an addict of Uber. There is no way that Ola and Uber have to worry about promoting their product. They are now worried about promoting their product vis-a-vis their competition, but the service, you're all taken care. So this is the tipping point. The tipping point is that point in the life of a product where it overnight becomes a majority user. Now there are somebody like, let's pick up some other name. There's somebody like Rajat Sahu, who is so unadaptive to new technologies. He will never travel in a Uber. He'll never travel because he doesn't believe that the payment gateway works, or he doesn't trust the driver, or whatever it is. He still believes in standing and flagging an auto down. Now, when Rajat gets converted to a Uber customer, it's no great news. It's no great news. He had to convert. He had to convert because he is a late majority guy. There are still a lot of people who are just about converting to Uber. So finally, laggards could be your grandmother, or could be somebody age who doesn't even know how to use an ATM, or who still doesn't trust in the UPI apps. I'm just giving some random example. So these are what constitutes a new definition of law of diffusion of innovation. So if you guys have any questions, we can have a conversation. You can go ahead and ask. There is a more detailed explanation to this here, and that should give you what I'm talking about. Okay, good. So with this, I complete what was technically known as the introduction subject. I should have done that in the previous class, but we had a truncated class the other day. So we are now going to be moving into the next new share. I hope this is the one. Okay, yeah, give me a minute for me to open up the particular screen, so I know where am I. File, recent, planning, yeah. Okay, we're now going into to a next chapter, which is called planning and marketing mix. Can you tell me that you can see this? Are you able to see this screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
Yes, perfect. Okay, good. So now having given you a lot of introductory gyan, a lot of conversation, a lot of going around the subject, let's now dive deep. Let's get into a more structured discussion of planning and marketing mix. Now look at this. Look at the. I don't know how well you can see it. I'll try to bring it to, but still it may not be very well visible. But these are one of the very basic tools that you will use when you start a company. Correct? When you start a company, or when you come out with an app, or when you come out with a product, or when you come out with a service, what do you want to do with it? what you will say? You will say, oh, wow, this is the most brilliant idea after bottled water. I want to do these kind of things. And just give me a minute. Okay. And so what do? Who is my customer? Where will the service be done? What is the service that I'm going to give? Why should anybody at all come to me for the service? How would he benefit it? When will I make the money? When will I deliver products? For how long will I see losses? From when do I start picking up money? When do I go into IPO? When would this company help me do this, that, all that stuff? So this is a typical 5W1H model or something like that. Are there 5 Ws? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, should be, right? Five Ws and 1H model, it's called. It's a very basic way in which you can make your own business plan. If we have time in our classes, we'll review one other business plan, but you will obviously have more of such in your classes to come. Now, if this is such a brilliant idea, that's a business plan. So what is the difference between a business plan and a marketing plan? The business plan encompasses every activity. The business plan involves how should I finance my company? The business plan involves how should I manufacture the product? Who should I employ? What should be the policies of my company? But we are not getting there. You will of course get them through your various classes. But in my class, we will talk about what is called the marketing plan. Now, the marketing plan, what does the marketing plan say? What should it do? How do we go about a marketing plan? Let's look at it in a little more detail. If you look at this particular picture, it talks about various divisions, or should we say various heads of various divisions, sitting down and having a conversation. There is a finance guy, there's a design guy, there's a production guy. I have a screen covering mine. There is manpower, there's legal. They're all sitting ahead and all talking to each other. Now, the picture that I want you to put into your mind, that's why I'm trying to be more pictorial in my presentation, is that each one of them are looking inward. All of them are looking inside the room in this corner office of a large company. But marketing is probably the only entity which looks outside to the world. Its inputs, its benefits, its interactions all happens with the external world. Finance is always talking about people internal, the banker or the person who's lending it. Production is all about what happens inside. Design is what happens about inside. Manpower is all about managing your resources, your people, your staff. But marketing is one activity which makes you start looking out, because marketing is a world out there. You face a totally different kind of wolves. Taking example from one of them who talked about managing wolves out there, right? So that done, let's look at one basic reason for any company to exist. Basic reason for any company to exist, or for basic reason for any marketing to exist. What does it say? I have a product. I have some objectives in life. I have some resources. I want to use these products. I want to use these resources, convert them into more highly benefiting financial opportunities, right? So this is what I've got to do, is that this is the product that I have. This is the possibly market that I want to sell to. And you don't make money on the very first business cycle. You may take some time for you to make money on your business cycle. So the question is, how long am I willing to bleed to see profits? Can you name companies which are over 5 years old, 10 years old, and still not making money? Can you give me an example of any one of them? companies, no airlines ever makes profits, right? But they are there. But that's another story that we may have. ONGC maybe.
E-commerce like Amazon, Flipkart.
Okay, Amazon, Flipkart also doesn't seem to be making money.
E-commerce.
E-commerce sites, but why are they there? Why are they there? They are there, but they eventually feel that the longer I persist, the longer I'm there, I should be able to turn the cycle around. Typically, when you looked at Uber, when you looked at the other guys, you would notice that Ola, you would notice that they were not making profits initially, and they were willing to, yes, bounces. They were willing to drain their resources in a hope that eventually I will turn what is your pastime into an habit. So once it becomes a habit, it's going to be very, very hard to get over it. I'll tell you why habits are so dangerous. Is that once you get used to a better quality of life, you will never settle for anything much lower. So that's what they are trying to do. Once they bring in the ease of flagging a car, sitting in your home, and using an app, no way will you go stand in the sun, wait for an empty taxi. Similarly, when you're sitting in the comfort of your own car and you get a customer, no way will you keep driving around. You used to see empty autos going all over looking for customers and not there. So, but to bring in such thinking, companies are willing to drain the resources. Kellogg's is willing to spend many years. Oats, or what is a company called? Quaker Oats, or eventually Pepsi, are willing to spend many years of draining their profitability to make it a habit so that they eventually become successful. So now we have objective, resources, and opportunities. If you look at it, anything in our life, any planning in our life involves, why are you troubling me so repeatedly? Walking in, out, is that there are two kinds of marketing strategies that we do. One is called the strategic marketing tactics. The other is called the tactical marketing. What is the difference between the two? Is that strategy is what is the big plan. Tactical is the plan on the ground. Now, what is the way it works is that strategy is what the team discusses before the start of the match, and tactics is what happens. Okay. And tactics is what happens when you get into the cricketing field. So that is the difference between strategic and tactical. Now, this is possibly one example of strategy versus tactical. You can look at what the example is, but we will go beyond that now. The main activity of a company is okay. A typical marketing plan for any organization should consist of these points. Now, I don't want any interruptions because this is something that I would, if you have not muted your phone, please mute it and give me about 10 minutes of concentrated attention. Okay? Because of one interruption, I just missed 2 slides. But anyway, so now pay attention to this. This is the most important part of any marketing thinker. Anything on the subject of marketing, everything in the subject of marketing is in this one particular slide. We keep going back to this slide again and again and again. And each segment of this slide is broken down into multiple segments and done a lot of dissection, theory, and thinking about it. So, what is a marketing plan? A marketing plan consists of various thinking processes of a company. Any company must have a vision and a mission. The vision is missing out here in this particular thing, but there's a vision and a mission. What is a vision statement? Any organization wants to see where they will be 10 years from now. They want to see where will they be 50 years from now. They want to see how will they be as an entity on a very long term basis, right? One of the best ways that I used to always describe a vision and a mission statement is the way that the two political parties that we have in India, BJP came up with a slogan which said Congress Mukt Bharat, something like that. Congress Mukt Bharat. That means an India without Congress party. That is their vision statement. Now, how good is the vision is not the point of our discussion. It's just as a conversation and as an example. So that's their vision. They want to see an India which doesn't have a Congress party existing. Now, if that is their vision, what is their mission? The mission is something even more closer, even more realistic, even more doable, even more achievable. Means that in every election, in every seat, in every constituency, I have to win. It's only when I win all election, all states, all constituencies, all MP seats, all MLA seats, all Rajya Sabha seats, will that vision be achieved. So while I may have a grandiose of a vision, a mission is a little more realistic. Now, to get that, what objectives they may have, they may do whatever it is. But similarly, every company has a vision statement. Every company has a mission statement. And then they have what is called the objectives of the company. What is the objective of let's assume, I don't know what is the vision statement of Geo. The vision statement of Geo would be that every citizen of India has the finest broadband collection. That could be the vision statement. What could be the mission statement? The mission statement would be that to connect every village with a Geo connection. If that is correct, if the vision is correct and the mission is correct, their objectives would be to introduce the best of the technologies and make sure that I am constantly upgrading and expanding my services and staying ahead of the competition. So that could be one way of looking at it. So you have what is called a vision statement, a mission statement, and an objective. And SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis, every one of us know what is a SWOT analysis. So we will talk SWOT analysis briefly, and then we will look at a little more modern ways of doing that work. And once we have done that, we will start talking about a marketing strategy. How do you market yourself better than your neighbor? How do you market your product better than somebody else? How do you make your CV a little more interesting? Your vision statement could be the richest man in the world. Your mission statement is to make sure that I have 30% year-on-year improvement in my CTC. Objectives would be to add 5 skill sets in my life every year. And then you do a SWOT analysis, but then you eventually get into a marketing strategy. What should you want to do? What is the product that I am going to produce? How do I price my product? How do I let people know that such a product exists? And where will they come to buy my product? So these are the 4 P's that we will be discussing. Eventually, the life doesn't end there. Life doesn't end there. You want to come back and hear from him as to, did you like my product? Why did you not like my product? how can I improvise? One, my product. Two, my profitability. Three, my reach. All of this constitutes what is called a marketing plan. So I want you to start getting this into your head. Obviously, this could be one picture that if I wake you up in the middle of the night, you should be able to talk of it in the same line and conversation. Open for questions. Any questions? Perfect. If you think you're fine, we will move to the next point.
Sir, I have a question on the previous slide.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So the target market strategy, shouldn't that come after the SWOT analysis? Because you would do the strategy and then do the SWOT analysis on each strategy to choose the best one. Wouldn't
Okay,
that be a better flow?
Interesting. But we'll see why it's there. So, so you believe it should be there before SWOT. This whoever is the author of this wonderful image believes that it should be above the target or it should be below SWOT. So let's find out in the classes to come why it is. Would you technically, if you ever went into a boxing match, or if you were to be a boxer, not that I am one, but which category would you box? What are the different categories? Banter, ultra light, or something? Can one of you think of the categories? I'm not
lightweight,
heavyweight, ultra. What is that?
Lightweight,
and heavy. Yeah, some 3, 4 like that, right? So first of all, you should decide for yourself what's your weight. Now, depending on whether you are under 60 kilos, you will come under featherlight category, and you will box a similar kind of a guy. But if you are like Abhishek, who is 90 kilos, I'm assuming, and I hope Abhishek doesn't get angry for that. Then you will only be qualified to fight a ultra heavy category. So first, you should know what's your situation. What's your strength? What's your weakness? Now I know what am I good at. You may be a good badminton player, and then you end up playing boxing, and you know what happens. So we need to understand our situation. Having understood our situation, then let us go and fight the battle. So that's one way to look at it, Abhishek. I hope is that question by Abhishek or it was somebody else?
No, that was Shiju.
Shiju. But I guess you now follow the thought process, right?
I do.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
When we do the SWOT analysis, what factors we consider to go further?
Hang on for 10 minutes and you will get tired of listening to SWOT. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And we will, as I said, the point I'm trying to say is this one particular slide is all that we are going to be talking about. Marketing in term 1, marketing in term 2, marketing in term 3, marketing in your PhD in marketing, marketing in your doctorate is all this particular slide and subsections of it. So we'll get there. Don't worry. We will make sure that you understand everything, right? So now let's look at a vision statement.
Sir?
Yes, please. Last on the question on this.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Just I would like in the whole the mapping, right? I don't see anywhere mention about the timing of the marketing, like when to start and when.
So why is it? Maybe the guy who wrote it forgot about it.
Okay. No, because the reason.
Hang on. What does promotion mean? How do I promote the product?
Right.
So how do I promote the product? Do I promote Okay. Who's answering? Who's asking this question?
Rajendra here.
Rajendra. I'm sorry that I have to ask for name because the way the screen is on my thing, it's already cluttered. But I wouldn't know who's asking. Rajendra, what did you infer from the Google Assistant ad?
It's like you can get like you can understand what's there for tomorrow. Like
No, let's get deeper into that. What changed his mind on the purchase?
The weather.
Yeah.
Weather. So what did the weather do? The weather made him switch from making jalebis to making pakoda.
Pakoda, yeah.
So that was a timing component, right? That was a timing component. He knows exactly that on a rainy day, people don't walk in to buy jalebis. People would want to walk in to buy pakodas. So that's he's going to be, that's why if you eventually look at the end of the ad, the slide closes pakoda, jalebi, and opens up pakoda, right? So it's all about how do you promote it, and promotion is obviously timing. Timing is very, 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 very important, and so it becomes a part of your promoting your conversation. I will give you a story. Is that I and my friend, we've had the unique distinction of being together in college, working to the first two jobs, and they were small jobs when we started off together. So there was nothing truly differentiating he and me. Both of us were bank benchers, so that also didn't do much of a differentiation. And we landed up on what could be a career breaking job, and we both went for these interviews. Now, there was truly nothing separating this gentleman and myself, except that he had attended possibly a brilliant technical training program, on some RF testing or something like that. Okay, that's how I began my career, doing some real hardcore work on that. So, and both of us desperately needed that job. Both of us desperately, of course, we all need jobs, desperately wanted that job in particular. And I knew it, that this guy, Dinesh, if he flashes that particular certificate or letter, whatever it is, he obviously gets an edge out of it. Now, for him, he was also a smart guy. He wanted to make sure that he shows this certificate at the right time. Now, you know what happens in an interview. You have 2-3 levels of the interview, and he wants to make sure that at that decisive moment, he says that, incidentally, I also have the certification on and a qualified RF tester or something, some crap like that. So we went through round 2, round 3, and all that, and we knew that this was the last very round, the last very round. And remember, this is promotion. We are talking one of the 4 P's. How does he promote himself? Is that not only am I as good as Ramesh, but I also have this unique certification. That's one of the 4 P's that we're talking about. So he was talking to this guy, and these are the old days when phones itself were in scarce, and so company had phones at particular locations. So this final interviewing boss was talking to him, and this guy, typical picture style, was about to pull out and show him the certificate. At that time, the guy interviewing him gets a call. So the secretary walks in and says, okay, I know that because he turned out to be my first boss. So he says, Dilip, you have a call. So this guy gets a call, and a few minutes later, he comes and tells my colleague that, hey, the interview is over. Thank you very much. So why he was holding on to something unique about him, and he was trying to time it as perfectly as possible. Unfortunately, his timing was very, very bad. And long story short, he didn't get the job. I got the job, and so bad timing can sometimes cause you not getting a job, but somebody else getting a job. But incidentally, the
Yes.
story doesn't end there. The story doesn't end there. A few months later, very few months later, so there was another opening. This time, the opening was not in India. The opening was in Singapore, and there was a very hurried opening, extremely hurried opening. They wanted to get somebody immediately. So then they said, hey, remember when we picked up Ramesh, there was another guy who we dropped. So why don't we pick him up? So overnight, what was possibly an India job for this guy ended up being a US guy. So timings can get you wrong. Timings of promotion can get you wrong. So anyway, just to tell you an idea of how promotion has timing as an entity, right? Good.
Thanks.
So yeah. So sometimes, so get used to stories from me. So again, we are getting into a little more of the thing, saying that what is a vision statement, what is a mission statement. A vision is something that are we here? Too many slides here. Yeah, vision is. This is what I want you to remember perfectly well. Vision. What would the world look after you have finished changing it? A mission statement is what is wrong with the world and how do you intend to fix it? Correct? So the example of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan would be India is we are littering and we are doing all kinds of things in public. We need to stop them. We need to make sure that people do their activities in, they don't litter the streets. You know what am I trying to drive at? That's the mission statement. What would the vision statement mean? We would definitely have a much healthier India, and I would end up having a lower cost on healthcare. So that is the mission and vision statements. What are the objective? Objective is to build 1 million toilets in India, something like that. So that is a vision and a mission statement. Now, I'll give you some example from the sector that I come from. I come from a space sector. So I'm sure all of you know these three gentlemen. How many of you know Elon Musk? And yeah, obviously, right? Yeah, you know him, Elon Musk. Who doesn't know him, right? Elon Musk is famous for lots of things. We're right there. So Elon Musk has a vision. Jeff Bezos. How many of you do business with Jeff Bezos? How many of you don't do business? How many of you don't do business with Jeff Bezos? Raise your hand if you have not given $1 to Jeff Bezos. I don't think there's anybody exists in this room. And how many of you admire this character called Richard Branson? Okay, so three gentlemen, three conversation. What's the time? Okay, after this we'll take a break. What? We started at 1:30. Yeah, 3 o'clock would be perfect. 3 minutes onto this, and okay, we'll do it at 3:15. That will give you. I can give you an assignment also. So Elon Musk believes that the Earth is dying. Earth is no longer a place to live. Earth is no longer a place to live. Earth is dying. Earth is getting polluted, and all things is happening. Mankind must move out of Earth, and mankind must go and settle in Mars. So what is he saying? Earth is no longer a place for human habitat. Let's make Mars a place for human habitat. And so that is my vision. What is the vision of Elon Musk? Is to create an alternative habitat for mankind to live. If that is his vision, what is his mission? His mission is to make more reusable rockets, make efficient rockets, make more trips to, make it easier to do more trips to space. And hence he does Space City. And hence he does all kinds of solar related activity, eventually allow us to have a new dwelling place in Mars. So that is his thinking, his vision and his mission. Jeff Bezos also agrees that, hey man, Earth is getting polluted. Earth is no longer becoming a place to live with. But he has a different philosophy. His vision is different. He says that, yes, Earth is getting polluted, Earth is dying, but that's my Earth. This is where I was born. This is where my ancestors were born. This was where the first Adam and Eve were born. This is where we were all born. And I will not move out of this place. But what will I do instead would be to move those polluting agencies out of Earth. What does that mean? Is that any manufacturing activity will not happen on Earth, will happen on Mars, will happen on Moon. It's a new thinking. If it's every weirdest thinker on the face of human on Earth who has been responsible for the progress of this nation, for the progress of this Earth. It was one stupid person who thought that he could go to India from Spain. Instead of going east, he would go west. He was laughed at, but it was his act, which, who am I talking about? Anybody know who am I referring to?
Columbus.
Columbus, right? So the weirdest of the thinkers are the one who give us the greatest progresses. So Jeff Bezos is saying, I will have my spacecrafts, I will have my spacecraft which will take manufacturing out of Earth and put it somewhere else. That's Elon Musk. That's Jeff Bezos. What's this guy? Richard Branson is saying, hey guys, let's have fun. After all, I'm here to have fun. What happens to Earth, what happens to Mars is none of my business. I will come out with the finest aircrafts to make sure that you can have a holiday in space. I can give you 3 nights, 4 days in a space capsule. So each one of them have a different outlook towards life. But then you see what happens. It's the vision which drives the company. It's the mission which fuels the company to perform better. And objectively, they get along. So I hope I'm able to put into your mind, these are vision and mission statements of Microsoft, of BHEL. So you can see there are quite a few examples of Infosys. They are serious statements of course, of their own kind. Now, where was I? So we got into, we did with the vision, we did with the objectives, and then we'll see where are we next. I'm going to give you, probably I'll skip a slide for some time. And get to a point where I will need you to do a okay. I think it's better to complete this and then go along. Okay, so we got your vision and mission statements. I'm going to give you a 15-minute break. And then when we come back, what do we do when we come back? Let me see, what do we do when we come back? We will do SWOT analysis. We will do further digging into SWOT. Then we'll talk about various other parameters which affect SWOT. Then we will realize that SWOT is rather old. We will look at newer things of SWOT. And then I will talk about some other lines of business, and then finally give you a activity on the Google front. So the time now is 3:03. I'm going to give you exactly 12 minutes and we will assemble at 3:15. Is that fine? 1 yes, and I'm good to go.
Okay, sir.
Okay, perfect. Okay. You can come back with your questions. We'll have some more questions being answered, and then we'll take it forward. I obviously need some water. Bye.
Especially when we tell, like when we're trying to promote, we are bringing out something new feature or something, right? And if the timing is really wrong or something, like if you give the idea to the competitors or other companies, it might lead to another problem, right? Like, so whether I need to start my promotion early or should I wait till everything is ready? Or even if sometimes, even if everything is ready, it might delay the things for us. Like for example, Bajaj thing, right? They delayed it such a way that it went to us loss for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So your question is, now the question is, so what was your question?
Yeah, my question was like, if your timing is not accurate, right? Sometimes if you try to promote it early, before the product is ready itself, you try to disclose your ideas, you disclose your features to the competitors, and they might come back very soon. Like nowadays, copying and coming out with ideas is very easy for people, other companies.
Taking cue from your last two sentences, which is nowadays copying is very easy and all that thing, I would suggest that you hold on, because that would be a nice way to start off our conversation. When we look at life outside the ordinary world of SWOT, which SWOT is something that you and I anyway knew even before we joined this class. So I will make sure that your question is answered in more than one ways as we go further into the conversation, right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, perfect. So SWOT, who doesn't know SWOT? Let's not spend too much of time swatting about it. Only thing I want to say is, I'm going to get rid of some things. Okay. Is that recently when I was looking through the Airtel annual report, when Airtel came out with the annual report, they did not do a SWOT analysis. They did a SCOT analysis. And I was very impressed by that statement, because they said that we don't have weakness in our company. We don't have earlier you were using the word handicapped, and now you don't use the word handicapped. You only say mentally challenged or physically challenged, right? So because handicap is not a nice word, and weakness is not a nice word too, according to Airtel, and I agree with Airtel. Is that so? We will not call it a SWOT. We will call it a SCOT. We say that we only have challenges. We don't have a weakness. We only have a challenge. So I just want to let you know that that was a small thought process that I just saw a couple of months back in one of the Airtel annual reports. So not a SWOT analysis, but a SCOT analysis. But what is a SWOT analysis for all of us to learn from is that we all have our strengths. Of course, we have our strengths. If we don't know what our strengths are, that are our fundamental mistake. You don't know your strengths, you go to a guru, and then the guru tells you that these are your strengths. You attend a the two gurus in vogue now. Who are they? The two gurus in vogue. Jaggi Vasudev and Sri Ravi Shankar. Some examples I'm just throwing you. They will let you know what your inner strengths are. You go meet your boss and he'll let you know what your weaknesses are. So we will do a SWOT analysis for ourselves all the time. And not only we will do the SWOT analysis, we will also end up doing a SWOT analysis for the company also. So we look at if our strength, my strengths is not well compensated by the weakness of my salary. I will look at external opportunities, and the only threat is that I may have to be without a pay for some time. So that could be a SWOT analysis of an individual like myself. So that said, we will get into a more detailed discussion of the SWOT. This, I'm not going to stick on there. Things that are going well is obviously the strengths of the company. Things that are not going too well are a weakness. But now comes a further segregation or classification of it, is that strength and weaknesses are internal. They are in you. It is for you to get out of it. It is for you to find that bodha tree under which to sit and recognize what are you good at and what are you not so good at. But opportunities and threats are external. However strong and however encouraged that I may be, there are certain activities which are outside of my control. So how do we do that? So we have what are called internal factors and external factors. Needless to say, if you are among the lucky on the question, you will have few something that is being asked to explain what are external and what are internal. Okay, so what are the strengths of any company? And the strengths of any company is how well do they manufacture, how qualified are their employees, how efficient is their production. The strength of Japanese companies for a long time was in the philosophy of just in time. The weakness of Indian was that we were pretty good in our in our services, but we were not very good in our manufacturing company. The strongest of the company may have the finest of the market share, but I don't know if you read a newspaper report just a few weeks back, is that Toyota declared a shutdown or whatever it's called, a halt in production because of dispute with their labor force. So now who's responsible for it? It's not market conditions. It's not the pandemic. It's not the financial situation of the country. It are your problems. It's the problem of the organization. So strength and weaknesses are internal to an organization and least affected by an external environment. So this is something that we need to know. Some companies have a super brand image. Some companies have a brand which might even pull them down, and you don't want to buy it just because it has the brand. For a long time, a brand like Patanjali we would go and search for a Patanjali product. But after he made a fool of himself on the pandemic solutions, we don't really want to be associated. Something like that. Okay, so there you go. Mute yourself, please, whoever. Okay, then you have external opportunities and threats. What are the external opportunities? The greatest opportunity that people keep talking about India is a country of 1.3 billion people, and they themselves are a huge opportunity. If you're not convinced that you should be in India selling your product, I'll tell you one more reason, is that India is a country of 1.3 billion people, but 30% of them are under 30. So here you go. This is the reason why Mr. Netflix and Mr. Prime Video should be doing everything, because they don't want to watch the things that their parents watch. So it's a huge market for you. So there could be a social market, there could be a demographic market. And despite all this, there is what the economy. India is a growing economy, and so an economy that is growing, we obviously want to tap such economy. Every year the quality may not be, but I recall having a conversation with somebody who was Chinese and young, and she was mentioning that over the last 20 years or 25 years, every day of our lives have been better than the previous day. So they are a growing economy. They are an economy that are growing strong and doing well. Veena, close the door. So as you can see, economies which are doing well are great opportunities for us. So typically, that is one other thing. Technological progresses. Technological progresses are always an opportunity or possibly a threat. Some technology can come and throw away another technology. There was a time when you all know that the cameras were there, but the moment digital cameras came into existence, it wiped out two big companies out of business. That could be one other issue. There could be political and legal issues. You know, the political and legal issues which resulted. Can one of you complete the sentence for me? And the quicker you complete it, the better it is. Let's see who can do it. Is that the political and legal issues killed a major social pastime activity of a country? Which was that? One product which was killed out because of a political and legal reason.
TikTok.
Absolutely. Perfect. So what is wrong? Everybody was buying that product. Everybody was enjoying that product. And for me, honestly, after a couple of hours of serious work, no greater joy than watching a few TikTok videos. And I don't know if how many of you have, what about PUBG? Yeah, brilliant example too. PUBG is another reason. Same thing. It's very good. Very good. Nikhil, I really like that example. I couldn't think of it the moment we were conversing. So there was a social backup. It addressed the right demography. What is demography? For now, I'll tell you a one line. It's the target age market or whatever that is. But we'll get into demography later on. They were doing well. They had the best technology, but there was political reasoning for which they had to get out. So you see what a SWOT analysis tells you. A SWOT analysis tells you reasons why you're not doing well could be internal. Reasons why you are doing well could also be because of external reasons, which are opportunities and threats. So more on that subject. I'm not going to stick on to this for too long because this is a very dated slide, and but this gives you one way of looking at things the way it was. What are Microsoft's strengths and weaknesses? What are Microsoft challenges? There is one more which talks about Apple. These are a little bit old slides, but I think you all get to know. If I look at Apple, they felt that the death of Steve Jobs, possibly this particular slide was written then, death of Steve Jobs could throw the company, because Steve Jobs, as you said, was a maverick CEO and he was the best salesman for Apple. But it turned out to be not so. Tim Cook did a brilliant job, and Apple, despite I don't know how many years since Rajat Sahu is pretty excited that PUBG is coming back. Then I don't know how many years since Steve Jobs died, but Apple is still doing well and going from position of strength to strength. So that is one thing. But SWOT is a little bit old. You know, if you go tell somebody that, hey, I learned SWOT in class in MBA, they say, hey, come on, yeah, we learned SWOT much more. But there are other variations of SWOT. I wouldn't say a replacement of SWOT, some variations. You don't like to use the word SWOT, you can use the word SOAR, where you say aspirations. I aspire to be a leading company. I aspire to have a 30% market share. I aspire to be the most sought after brand. So I don't talk about any weaknesses here. I always look at a very rosier side of the picture. So that's the SOAR. It's easier to spell and it's a nice acronym. The other alternative of looking at it would be to call it noise. Again, the more the words, the easier to pronounce you get. It'll never go out of your mind, right? So what are noise needs? Once I know what is the need of my customer, I need to know what are the opportunities that this provides. How can I improvise my product to be able to be more accepted by the using market? What are my strengths? And then there are exceptions to the rule. There's always an exception to the rule, and so this is one way that they're looking at it. But what we are going to do, taking conversation from what I was talking to Rajendra, or Rajendra more precisely, is that we will do what is called a VRIO model. And I want you to pay equal attention to this conversation as much as I would want you to remember the SWOT. What is a VRIO model? A VRIO model is how valuable am I to a user? What would happen if something went wrong? For some reason, some service is not available. How valuable am I? Of course, we can take one example. I don't know how far I can take that example to. Maybe. Okay, we'll see that. How valuable am I? I have an ACT connection at home for which provides me broadband. And as you discussed, where is broadband in the Maslow's pyramid? Where is broadband in the Maslow's pyramid? Can somebody tell me? Is it in the bottom or in the top?
Psychological. Bottommost.
Psychological, though not technically, right? We have now an advanced country, so broadband is equally important as food and water. So am I valuable? Of course I am valuable. Of course I am valuable. ACT must be very happy that I'm most valuable. No house, no entity, no organization, no individual can live without me. But am I rare? Of course you're not rare, Mr. ACT. If not you, I will go to somebody else. So there you go. You are just valuable, but there is nothing else about you which makes you unique. If you shut down, we moved partially to another place, and then within half an hour, we were able to get an internet connection, undreamed of probably years back. So you're not rare. You're not difficult to imitate. So why would ACT be sitting and enjoying comforts of life? No, ACT is always on its toes because it knows that it may be valuable to the customer, but it's not rare. And we'll come to an organization around. Is the organization organized around? We'll come to that later. So valuable, rare. What is rare? How often can a service like mine be available? Is there a rarity of my product? No. If I remember one particular example which I always keep talking about is, and probably that helps to drive a point. I used to have an office in Koramangala. I'm a long time Bangalorean as such. So I know my dosa. I know where the best dosas are available. So one fine day while I was driving back from work, I noticed one cart wala which says 99 varieties of dosa. My God, that literally blew me off my very existence. I said 99 varieties of dosa. Those are brilliant, man. And yeah, you love it, Nikhil. Okay. So then I went back home. Koramangala, even then and even now, continues to be a traffic hell. Went back home, pulled my wife out, and they said, sit in my car and I'm going to take you to a place that has 99 varieties of dosa. Because I thought it was extremely rare. And yes, it was rare. We drove, whether the dosa was good or not is not the point. But because the traffic was bad, we decided to take another road. And on that road, I found 10 other shops or 10 other carts which said 99 varieties of dosa. So what was a rare idea, what was a unique idea, is so easy to imitate. It's so easy to imitate. So what is the uniqueness of this? What is the uniqueness of this the service that he was providing. It was not valuable for me, and there's nothing important. I can live without dosa, but I found it rare. But it is rare, no doubt. But there are quite a few of them who are easily able to imitate them. So you know that similarly, you know that a Google search engine is something we consider very highly valuable. It's rare. No, there are quite a few, but nobody has been successfully able to imitate it to an extent that he continues to have it. So if you have understood valuable, if you understood rare, and if I were to try to tell you what is the difficult to imitate, I will tell you what is the fourth one, which is the O. Again, um, I will come down basic, down to earth explanation, and then we will up the conversation. For I don't know for there's a guy near my house who makes the best tomato chats. I tell you, the guy is definitely valuable to us because he has some very unique mouth lingering product. Is it rare? Honestly, it is rare because nobody makes as good as he does. I have tried all kinds of tomato slice and masalas and all that. Nobody makes it as is. Is it difficult to imitate? A few have tried to imitate, but I would say it's difficult to imitate because the taste that he provides is so very unique. But look at this man who's making it. Is he a rich man or is he a poor man? Okay, whatever that is, we'll not divert our conversation through the chats. Hang on. So is he a rich man or is he a poor man? This guy is obviously poor. The reason is that he may be making the fineness of the chart. It may be so difficult to imitate, but he cannot grow. Can he set up like McDonald's 100 outlets? Can he like Subway open up 100 branches? Can he like Adyar Anand Bhavan get some fine slots in South Bangalore to eat? No, because he doesn't have the organization to stand by him. Who is the organization? It's he himself and maybe his family. So, but look at the way somebody mentioned Starlink. I don't know who mentioned Starlink, but look at the way Starlink is scaling. Overnight, they can cover the whole world. And now the entire conversation is that the virus is valuable. The vaccine is valuable. The virus is rare to imitate, difficult to imitate. But right now, all our focus is on whether the organization is able to rally around to get to all the people on the earth. So while SWOT is a good way of doing it, while SWOT may have acronyms to play around with, I would want you to also look at VRIO as a model, which is another way of looking at things. Now, I'm going to take one example here, which is Starbucks. So you see, you see in Starbucks, some parameters are good, some parameters are not good, but they eventually stand out because they have some very rare, unique product line that they come out with. So any questions on VRIO before we get further? Is that very clear? No questions from Srinivasan, of course. But what is Saikat was Geo trying to imitate? Yeah, correct. That's an idea. Geo trying to imitate WhatsApp chat and Zoom and all that. Yeah, because the reason Saikat Geo is trying to imitate WhatsApp chat and Zoom is another reason. Is another reason. Is is because they want to make sure. I don't want to talk about these topics when we have another session on that. But mostly the reason is every company wants to give up the full plate or full meals for any customer. They may be specializing in North Indian food, but typical Indian South Indian joke. The typical South Indian joke is, doesn't matter whether you use North Indian or South Indian or Chinese or Italian. What is the last thing that you must eat? Can anybody type that or mention?
Sweet.
Curd
Curd
rice.
rice. Curd rice.
Absolutely.
Curd.
So it doesn't matter if you go to the finest. I don't know. I can't think of a. Only thing I can think of is mainland China. But mainland China may offer you exclusive Chinese dish, but they'll also give you curd rice. So, but if you don't give curd rice, it's unlikely that I might go there, because I might try out the all the Chinese food, but I still want my thing. So similarly, in a very skewed out comparison, but we will compare Geo and what are they trying to do in a later date. They want to make sure that there's a complete bouquet of services available to you. Okay, right. So this done, we are done with VRIO model. There are more for you to read on this part of it. And there we go. We'll get into something a little more detail. For example, Geo is there. I mean, not Geo. SWOT is there. VRIO is there. And then there is something else. What is something else? There's PESTEL. What is PESTEL? One other way. These are all tools. These are all tools for us to do some kind of a basic analysis. What is the tool? PESTEL. Are you politically favored? Is the economic condition of the country good for us to enter? What is the social fabric thinking about me? Do I have the best technology to produce, to power the services? What is the impact of the environment that I will be causing? Is there a legal clearance to my business? If you look at it, all of it, if you look at it, politics, everybody knows. Let's assume that I want to open a liquor shop in the neighborhood. Let's open a liquor shop in the neighborhood. Politically, I might get the right minister to bless me. And economically, the country wants, as you know, at one time, the joke that was going on was that whoever consumed were the ones who were driving the economy. Social, yes, I could be a social pariah. I mean, I may not be liked by the society around it because I could be causing some technology. Yeah, I mean, what kind of a service am I offering? Or there is an environmental factor. Most importantly, where am I setting up this place, and what could be the legal impact of such a service? So one way that we talked about was SWOT. We did variations of SWOT. Normally what happens is you would do a SWOT analysis, and then you say, let me do a PESTEL analysis. I'm still asking you guys, are you all following my conversation, or you think, let me open up for some more thoughts coming in? Or these are all going to be, why am I asking you is that some point in your life, you started to hate mathematics, or you started to hate calculus, or you started to hate trigonometry. The reason is, or I had a hell of a problem with formulas, chemical formulas. The reason is we just didn't get our basics right. And I want to emphasize not once, but 10 times is that these are your basics. These are your basics. More so for that girl who is HR specialist, more so for that guy who's doing his finance. Because as MBA students, You are not joining a HR specialization course. You are not doing a finance, a CA or a finance management course. You are doing an MBA course. In an MBA course, the finance guy has to understand marketing. The marketing guy has to understand HR, because you will be in a position like that example that I gave, wherein everything you have to understand. So get your fundamentals right. Any questions so far? Are you all doing good? Let me specifically ask some of you and say what do you guys think about it? What does Anand say? Anand, are you following with me? Anita, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Aparna, would you have a question?
No, sir.
Aparna, why don't you ask me a question now? I'm not going to leave you.
No, sir, I'm understanding the analysis.
Understanding the analysis.
Yes.
Okay. Now, who else should I ask? I'm not going to leave you. I mean, while
Just one question, Professor.
And why didn't you ask me before?
I was thinking about it.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, do you think that like all this kind of analysis, like will any thought process will pass through all this like SWOT, and then we have to do a pestle, and then I think few more analysis we might have to do, like an idea. I mean, like to come through all those things, like it's kind of like overkill. I mean,
yeah. I get who's asking.
This is Anand.
Anand. Okay, hang on, Anand. I'll perfectly answer this, but let me see who's this who has raised their hand. How do I get to know your name? The gentleman with the hat and the gentleman with the suit. They both raised their hands.
Hello, Professor. This is Mervin. So my question was: so since there are various variations of SWOT, SOAR, and noise, how do we know when to choose what? Or is this something you will be talking about later? Then I can pause this question.
Yes. Okay. Good. Next, there was somebody else who probably lowered his hand. Perfectly good. Okay. Now let me get back to Anand. You know, I was. You must have already begun to understand that I'm a storyteller. So you'll get another story from me now. And I was always bad in cricket. I was extremely bad in cricket. Is for the fact that there was no way that I could follow the ball, which is being the moment it leaves the hand or the wrist or the palm of the bowler. Because I never believed in technique. And I just wanted to go about it. And we are also, we as an Indians are a very unique set of people. And I cannot overemphasize what kind of people we are. Is that how many of you, honestly, I want to see hands raised, only hands raised. I want to say how many of you have opened up a box of a new device and refused to read the manual before you operate it? Virtually everybody is going to do it, because now lower your hands. Now lower your hands, and those, please raise your hands who who almost like a Bible read it before you start opening the box. If I can see one or two, I'm extremely happy, because we as a nation, we don't believe in these things. I'm telling you, I have had, I grew up through not opening up manuals, but then they're crazy. So many times we have this. Why am I saying this? Is these eventually are the tools for business. These eventually are tools for business. And if I want you, Anand, to make if you start a company, if you want to come to me for financing, you will come to somebody who is more structured. You will come to somebody who's done his MBA. You come to somebody who has funded 10 startups and who knows what it is. And you can't guess and tell him, sir, trust me, sir, this will do. No, I know, Minister Ashok, I will get this done. Don't worry, sir. All legal. My uncle is a lawyer. He will get it done. It's not going to work. If you want your product to be, or your idea to be done, you must do a SWOT, because only when you do a SWOT, you'll realize where the hell is your product. Only when you do a pestle analysis, you will do it. But we don't pay so much of attention to it because we are either in the lower levels of the management chain, or we haven't reached that stage that we do it. And not lots of people will also not talk about it in the highest level, also at the higher management, is because that is in their blood and bone. So nobody, I don't think Dhoni and Kohli are discussing as to how should I play a Chinaman, because they must have played a Chinaman. I mean, I'm absolutely excited of the fact that I was able to recall the word Chinaman. So it gives me great delight that my knowledge of cricket is so brilliant. So is that they have done it 100,000 times. If you watch a tennis match and you see the way Federer retrieves a shot or Federer does it down the line, is because he's done it a million times. I'm overemphasizing, maybe I'm emphasizing, but never overemphasizing, that these are true tools of our practices, right? Anand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you must take them, but eventually they become part of you. BODMAS, what is BODMAS? Can somebody tell me what is BODMAS?
It's the order of you evolve the mathematical equations.
Your teacher taught you BODMAS when you were in standard 3 or standard 4.
Yeah.
Solving a math problem, the BODMAS use.
Yeah, but you don't know what is BODMAS because BODMAS is in your blood now. So similarly, that is what happens. So that is basic. It's Srinivasan, it's basic mathematics that has become so basic that it's assumed that you know it. So anyway, so I hope I'm able to do this. Next thing that I want to do is to bring up two other very interesting conversations, which is, I said pestle. The next is CAC. Can somebody tell me, even if you have seen the previous screen, what does CAC stand for? Where are the smart Alex here? What is CAC? I'll tell you what is CAC. CAC stands for Customer Acquisition Cost. What is customer acquisition cost? The cost of money that I spend in acquiring a customer. What is the cost of money that I've spent in acquiring a customer? Let's say Dayanand Sagar University wants to acquire, make sure that Aparna joins, or there is Dimple who joins, or Kurat who just joined in yesterday. What is the money that they spend? What is the money that they spend? The cost of acquiring. They put up an ad. They put up yes, ARPU. Of course, we'll get to ARPU later. But for now, we'll look at cost of acquisition. They put up an ad. They put some people and things like that. So any company who has a cost of acquisition of the customer more than the money that they will make out of the customer, that business is bound to be doomed. Example, there are so many apps, or even Byju's, for example, or Vedantu, for example, or anybody else. Their cost of acquisition of a customer is so heavy. Is that Vedantu is virtually funding Kaun Banega Karodpati, or Byju is virtually promoting every serial. But they must be spending crores. They must be spending crores to acquire one Martin or one Mervyn to join the class. But if they do join but live after some time, then the company is doomed. Many a time, the cost of acquisition of a customer is never considered in doing an analysis. Why? Because they say, once we get 100,000 customers, we will be bought over by Google. That is my only, I have a business plan and I want to share it with you guys. What we'll do is all of us will start this one app. Is a very unique app. All of us will start downloading the app. So the moment 100,000 apps are downloaded, I'm sure Google will be wondering, what is this app? They'll come and buy me. So that is so let us do a lot of promotion and sell that product. But you also realize that when I did the law of diffusion, is that Google is no idiot. So Google is going to say, if this app product has a potential of 1 million people, and if you have 10,000 downloads, I'm not going to accept it. You come to me with 100,000 downloads, then only I'll do. So a cost of acquisition of a customer is a very, very important parameter. One of the finest examples of cost of acquisition of a customer going wrong is when you have DTH operators like Sun TV or Airtel or whoever, left, right, and center, whatever their names are. They have to send you an antenna, they have to wire your house, they have to send you a set-top box, and it costs a lot of money. They spend 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 rupees to spend it. And 3 months later, you junk him to take another connection. So they will never make money. So if they spend 3,000 rupees and they expect you to pay 300 rupees per month, at the end of 10 months, you have paid 3,000. They have only acquired the cost of the service activation. It's only after the 11th month that they begin to see some money being made. So that is cost of acquisition of service. Okay. Next is ARPU. ARPU is a very, very important parameter. Just give me 1 minute. So the other thing is called ARPU. ARPU is a very, very important parameter. Why is ARPU a very important parameter? ARPU talks about average revenue per user. Now, how do I define ARPU? Let me try to give you an example. Let's take Liju John as one example and Mohan Kumar as the other example. Now, Liju John, I'm sorry, Liju, you are the victim of my conversation today. Liju John is a very, very stingy guy. Is that true, Liju?
No, apparently just the opposite.
Huh?
Apparently just the opposite. But it's
apparently
fine.
Just the opposite. So then you will be the stingy guy for the conversation. So Liju is a very stingy guy. He just calls his friend and disconnects, and he makes the other guy make the call. So he has a Airtel connection, but he only recharges for 49 rupees because he hardly makes a call. It's only when accidentally Mervyn or Meghna picks up before he can disconnect that he completes the call. So now the strange case of Liju is that Liju is only billing 49 rupees per month, or he's bringing a revenue of 49 rupees per month for Airtel. Just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. Whereas on the other hand, Mervyn per se makes a lot of international calls, And so he is spending something like 2,000 rupees per month. Now, if you look at, we discuss customer acquisition cost. While you have discussed customer acquisition cost, we will now look at the average revenue. Who does Airtel want? Does Airtel want people like Liju, or Airtel wants people like Mervyn? Airtel obviously wants people like Mervyn because they are bringing in more revenue per user. So that is a very important parameter. And if you look at it, when Airtel and Jio were having a fight, both were fighting for whom? They realized that both were fighting for that user who was paying them low, right? I will never change my phone from because my number is unique, even though the process of conversion is not there. I am more like a dedicated. Not many of us switched. So what Airtel realized, that they were fighting Jio to hold on to the ARPU guy who was paying very little. So Airtel then came up with, if any of you are Airtel users, Airtel came up with what is called Airtel Thanks, because what they did is they started pampering those people whose ARPU was higher. So they said, if you're monthly billing me 600 rupees or monthly billing me 1000 rupees, you are dear to me. So we have two new terminologies, ARPU and cost of revenue per customer. Now I'm going to get into another line of conversation. This is macro and microeconomy. I will leave this to a later date, but I want to get into this as a subject of conversation. Before I get there, any questions? No questions. Perfect. Now let me. I see a few chat messages. That's why I'm trying to get myself organized. Or is it, or are AROP in healthcare parlance? Excellent, Srinivasan. I don't know why Shashanka mentioned bumper.
Thank you, Doctor.
I'm sure there's a reason for that. Why? What would that be, Shashanka? Maybe your example of an entity which spent too much of money, I'm sure. Okay, good. So now I want you to pay keen attention to this particular screen. What are we doing? We are not discussing the old techniques of marketing. Right now, oceans or red ocean or green ocean or blue ocean are new ways of thinking. The gentleman who invented this thinking is still alive. The gentleman who invented this is still doing business. Is a reasonably new concept. The gentleman who came up with this idea of oceans has recently been awarded some of the best thinking awards. So we look at markets as all kinds of markets. Let me take one example and go around it and then come to a new thing. Let's look at red ocean. The word red itself indicates what? Blood, right? Red ocean indicates blood. So if you can see, it has got two categories. On the x-axis, it has got a pain point. On the y-axis, it has got a delight point. What does that mean? The moment you introduce the product, you delighting the customer is going to be very little. The kind of pain that you will experience when you introduce that product is going to be heavy. That means to say that if you are going to introduce a new brand of rice, that means you are competing with India Gate, then some other brands, 2-3 brands, I can't recall some names. If you're competing with them, and if you want to come up with your own brand of rice, yeah, Kohinoor rice, thanks. So if you're going to come out with your own brand of rice, I'm not going to be delighted. I'm not going to be jumping all over the place saying that, wow, there is a new rice that's come up. The delight factor for the consumer is going to be minimal. But the pain point for you to introduce, take a market share, make an entry, be a dominant player is going to be very, 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 very tough. The best example that we can do is that when Jio was introduced, what was this? When Jio was introduced, there was nothing new about mobile. Mobile always existed. There was already 7 players, 6 players, 5 players in every cycle. And you know that nobody was making money. They were cutting each other. Everybody was reducing costs to come up with it. But despite getting into such a red ocean product, a company like Jio was able to come out with a uniqueness of the product to kill everything else. So that is a red ocean strategy. A red ocean strategy is that in which companies are bleeding, there's high pain point, low delight, and still you go in there. The extreme example of that would be the blue ocean. What is a blue ocean strategy? A blue ocean strategy would be that you come out with a product which absolutely delights the customer, and the pain point is very, very low to introduce. How can I think of a product? A blue ocean is, okay, I know the product. Can somebody come up with a blue ocean product which will solve my problem? Is that if somebody were to come with a plug-on to a Zoom app, which would say, the moment I just pointed towards that individual who is unmuted, it should mute without me having to search for it. Something like that, some very uniqueness. Blue ocean strategy is absolutely like you come up with a different kind of an AI that nobody has come up with, but somebody who's come up with a product that nobody thought about existed and came up with it. So that's a blue ocean strategy, wherein you come out and delight the customer. The best example is the best example is not that. The best example is the iPod. The iPod created absolute delight to it. They were miles and miles away from a competition. There were lots of tape players and lots of things, but the blue ocean came up with it. Now, if that is blue ocean and this is red ocean, what is the luxury spot? What is the luxury spot? As you can see, on the luxury spot, you have pain point very high, right? So there is no uniqueness of the model. The pain point is very high, but the delight for the customer is also huge. The example is not iPhone, but the example is the iWatch. What are you going to delight the customer? The customer is still a watch. He's going to still look at time. The primary reason for buying the product, is this watch. But it's a red ocean market. There are Titan, there is HMT, there is this guy, that guy, everybody there. But it's not even blue ocean. It's not an innovation, but it is a luxury spot. Nobody talks about what it costs. You make a huge impact and make some huge amount of money. So you have blue ocean, you have red ocean, you have luxury spot, and then you have green ocean. What is green ocean? Green ocean, unlike the word green, is not an environmental thing. It is streamlining the product. What is streamlining the product? There were all kinds of airlines in India. There is Kingfisher, as somebody types. There was I even forgot the guy who wound up 3 months back. Look at our memories, they just seem to die. There was Jet Airways who was there, but there's Indigo doing very well. How is Indigo doing very well? Is because they have a green ocean strategy. What does green ocean strategy mean? Is that we will improvise. We will cut down the processes. We'll streamline the processes. What do? They have one kind of engines. So any pilot can drive any aircraft. They come up with, they even start cleaning the aircraft even before the aircraft has landed. So you have what is called a green ocean strategy. Volcano is another example. Vistara would be a spot, right? Hopefully we don't know. Hang on to your suggestions of names, Spandan. Volcano is what? Volcano is just above Red Ocean, but it's a volcano. Overnight it becomes a success. Best example is TikTok. There's nothing unique about TikTok. There was Facebook, there was Snapchat, there were all kinds of, I think there was something else other than Snapchat. There were quite a few of them. But what does Volcano do? It comes and from nowhere, it just blasts in. Zoom also is probably an example of it shot up to fame overnight. But it knew exactly the point where it could attack. Oasis is stuck in the middle. What does stuck in the middle mean? The example of Oasis is, what is Snapdeal doing? What is Snapdeal doing in the war between Amazon and Flipkart? It's stuck in the middle. Nobody is looking at him at all. He is there, but his model is so unique, but he is not able to make a decision. Snapdeal is not sure whether it should be rural focused like Flipkart, should it be urban focused like Amazon, should it have the huge variety of Amazon, or should it have the most popular variety of Flipkart? And obviously they don't get the best of the price advantage. He's stuck in the middle. So what is no man's island? No man's island would be I'm just trying to think of a no man's island. Okay. A no man's island would be, let's say, how many of you know Bounce? Of course, we all know Bounce, right? I'm asking the wrong kind of people about it. Yeah. So Bounce, let's say I was the founder of Bounce, and given that I have no knowledge about it, I believe that Bounce is good for for home women to drop their children to school and to go and pick up groceries. So what would I do? I would place my Bounce in front of all apartments and try to address the market. But that's the wrong market. That's the wrong market. What should my market be? My market should be, place it in front of offices and place it in front of metros. So when I come up with a model which is totally different from the market which exists, I end up in a no man island. So that is the example of another no man island kind of a thing. YOLO, maybe. I know YOLO is doing well, I understand. So if you have understood all of this very well, I want you to, oh my God, where did this new share? Where did my slide go? Hang on for a minute, I lost my slide. No.
Sir, if you've deleted Control Z might help.
No. I know where it is. Yeah, it's here. Screen share. Must be this if I'm right. Okay, that's right. So I want to give you an assignment, which would be, how do I copy this, my friend? Yeah, I want to give you an assignment, which is assignment 4, which will exactly, I want you to complete this before you step out of the classroom. And what does it have? If Dhruva, can you open it and let me know that you are able to access it? You will be obviously assessed for it. I want you to give your own example of any ocean that you want to selectively pick up and mention. If you have questions on, if you have not understood any one of those oceans, or you want me to explain to you one more time, that's the very reason why I'm here. But I want you to answer them.
So disruption ocean. The
Yes,
disruption ocean. What would be the example of disruption type of ocean?
Example of a disruption.
The second one
would be. I have to think about it myself, but I know when you came and totally. Okay. I'll give you an example of a disruption thing. You remember that if you looked at my first slide, Tata Teleservices came up with something which totally changed the way business is done. Is that they started billing you for minutes consumed and not for fixed minutes. So that changed business model of companies, right? So that would be an example of disruption. Hopefully, okay. You want me to explain what one more time, Anushika? Everything or just disruption? Explain motions, all of them. Okay. Types of ocean. Red ocean is
share the
red
screen,
ocean
sir.
is high pain. Example of sweet spot. Sweet spot example I can definitely give you. Cradle. Isn't cradle an example of sweet spot? You're not able to see the screen.
No, sir, no.
Share the screen, that PPT.
Now?
Yes, now it is.
Now it's good.
Okay.
Sir, bit confused. It's not clear. So if you can just can tell us, explain it once again, it would be great for me.
All of it. Okay. I'll do a speed news for you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, good. Let's start the other way around. Sweet spot is exactly this market, specific identity. Sweet spot, Cradle, Rainbow Hospital, they know exactly where they want to be. They are the best option for everything. That's the place to go. So they have some very unique positioning so that they address a very key market. It's expensive to go and deliver a baby in cradle, but then you get lots of comforts. You get pink or blue or balloons for free if you go there. They have identified one sweet spot that all parents want to have babies delivered in cradle. So that's a very unique. They are not getting into cancer. They are not getting into OTC services, whatever it is, but they get into a very sweet spot. So that is sweet spot. Oasis is when there is a battle between people, or you don't know where to go. You're stuck between. You're not growing. Example is for Future Group, E-Zone, and Big Bazaar, and all of them. They are so confused in life. They don't know what to do. Do they want to go the E mode or do they want to go in some other? They're stuck in the middle. They have no way that they are trying to do. Luxury spot we discussed is that no competition. When you walk in and want to buy yourself a Rolex watch, you don't buy the Rolex watch because it shows you perfect time, but you buy the watch because it gives you a luxury feeling. Okay, so that is the one. Blue ocean is when you come up with a product that nobody has come up, and you give absolute delight to the customer. You change the whole business game plan. It does that. Disruption, I actually have a better model for disruption. I'm not able to think about it. Disruption is overnight you come and you totally redo the market. A quiet market is disrupted. I'll give you an example, or I'll post an example of disruption on the WhatsApp group. Oasis, I think I told you. Green ocean is when you're not doing anything different, but you're doing something smarter. When you do something smarter, you become more efficient. Why does Indigo always fly on time? Is because whatever activities can be done on flight, they clean up their aircraft much before. They have one type of engine, so it doesn't matter who goes on leave. Anybody can sit on the pilot seat. But they are not doing anything different. They're doing the same thing what SpiceJet does and Air India did. But they're doing a cleaner job. They're doing a smarter job. We have less people employed and we are able to do a better job. No Man Island is your product is brilliant. You have the right product. That is a product that we actually want, but you are selling it to the wrong user. And you're set up in a wrong position. That's some examples that I gave is saying advertisement for Mia jewels in an auto magazine is the wrong thing to do. Of course, who was that? Anita loves to buy Mia gold from Titan, but she'll never look into an auto magazine, assuming that she's not an auto buff or something like that. So some example of you're the wrong place. Volcano is, as I said, there were half a dozen similar players, but this guy comes and the difference between Volcano and disruption is that you come out with a similar model, but you shake the industry. But in disruption, you come up with something so innovative that you shake the very base of it. So this is what I wanted to say. Exactly 4:30, I guess, or not yet. Your answers will close. I will not accept answers beyond 5 o'clock, which means to say that you have to complete this before you get up. Is that a fair decision? And I want answers that.
Sir, I cannot see where exactly are these questions.
In the Google form that I just clicked on put it on the what? On the chat.
So just wanted to know, in case if we miss any class, so if there's any Google form, how we will fill it?
In case okay, that's a very nice question to ask. What I'm going to do, that is for you and Kurat for sure. You will find, I'll put up in the LMS, I'll put up a doc which is called Google Forms, wherein you can go and pull it out.
Sir, and I think
three questions.
Pardon?
There are 3 questions in the Google form. Should we fill all the 3?
Yeah, you select
the repetitive
3 out of 9. You select 3 out of 9.
Oh, 3 out of 9. And can
what
we come up with our own example?
You pick up Oasis, Volcano, and Red. Okay. What happens if I give you select 3 means you will never learn the other one. So okay. I want you to decide which one to pick up. And remember, the tougher one you attempt, the more pleased the professor is.
So can we also talk about the idea of what we introduce for our company where it is not known?
Sure.
All right.
Innovation is most accepted.
All right. Thank you.
So how about the deadline? If suppose if I miss the class today and the Google form I have to fill by 5 o'clock. So, if in case there is emergency and I missed it, so how I will fill the form about the due date?
You will. I am
time.
assuming that there will be less people missing the class. And so those who miss the class will communicate to me and let me know that you missed the class and hence you are posting it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Are you trying to be innovative or are you trying to be disruptive?
No, sir. I'm just asking. I have a small kid
I
who is.
hope you got the. I was trying to pull your leg, Anushika. This is what it is.
I just wanted
are you
to
trying to be, or are you trying to sit in a luxury spot and decide that even if you attend the class, that I will say that?
No, sir. Only I
I
just
was just
wanted to
trying to
be
give you
on the safer
examples of how
side.
you can think. Yeah.
No, sir,
Anybody
I just
else?
wanted to be on safer
Sir,
side.
any examples of products that we have developed in our company? We can also give example.
Yes. I'll be more than happy to see that. And it's not important that you put that, but it's important that where you put it. Do you put it in red or blue or green or yellow or whatever? Okay. And none of us have talked about the assignments. We have to talk about the assignments. I don't want any of you to attempt the assignment now. Who's on now? It's so very irritating, my friend. Who's switched it on? Yeah, somebody switched it off. Okay, thank you. So we have not. Your grouping is ready.
Yes, sir. We have received a mail about
you know who your group members are.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And how many of you have looked at my assignment?
Yes, sir. That group assignments, what we are supposed to do, we have seen, sir.
Yes,
and you have an idea of what it means, right?
Yes, sir, but I am not in any group now as of now. So
who's that?
Khurat here, sir.
Khurat, you catch hold of
no, sir. I think she has not seen the mail. She is in group HA10. I can see her name.
Okay, no problem. Even if you did not, Khurat, in benefit to the fact that it's your first day in class, you can always talk to Professor Rajan or Arvind or Malati madam. They'll ensure that you are least troubled.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so you have to do that. You will have to do a presentation. And how does a presentation work? You will do Zoom or Google Meet or whatever you are comfortable. I will not accept Microsoft Teams because I find it very painful for me. And I don't know how many of you agree with me, but for me, Microsoft Teams is very tough. Anybody agreeing with me?
Same here.
Yengarappa seems to agree. Oh my God, thanks. If I get more than 3 agree, then
I do agree, sir. I do.
Yes, sir, I do.
Then I'm not an old man, because I'll tell you, I had a presentation to be done. Are we beyond 4:30? Are we beyond 1 minute? So we can go for 4 minutes beyond that. Okay. So I had to do a presentation to somebody and I was struggling with Microsoft Teams. I don't know why. Okay. Anyway, so you will have to do as a team, you will have to come in front of it formally dressed, as formal as you can. Each of you will present it and it will be recorded and it will be stored in somewhere. You will give me, I'll give you the list of people who will get access to it. So not just 1, 2, 3 people will watch them, and I will score you for 20 marks. 20 marks will be divided on how good is your presentation, how good is your PPT, how nicely is Saikat sir, whose relaxed pose is very nice on the screen. How nicely does he make a presentation, and how does Sanbaran Sengupta speak? How much does Umesh struggle to complete? All that will go into your 20 marks. But how well has Pratham answered the Google form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? No, 2, 3, 4, 5. Will go into defining his 10 marks in the 30 marks assignment. Correct? Understood?
Sir, one question regarding the grouping. So I think from the section A and B, both are mixed into the groups. So is it okay for assignment wise? Is it any issue?
I don't see it as groups. I see you all as one entity.
Okay.
The reason why finance got grouped as B and A is because it for your own good and the decision of the college or the captain is that you get more personalized attention when the group is smaller for a subject like finance.
Excuse me, Professor.
I had a few queries.
Hmm.
Sir, Sunburn here.
Hmm.
So in your first assignment, there is a mention of major and minor. And I
Yes.
understand major is for the group. And minor is something that...
Minor is also for the group. And I'll tell you why. Let's assuming that you have 8 or 9 people in the group and I want a presentation no more than 20 minutes. Then how do I get all of you speaking for just 1 minute? It looks very funny. So what you can otherwise do is that if you are a very big team, maybe Merlin and Sunburn can do the minor jointly to a 1 or 2 slide. And then they say that this is what we have exclusively done because I want to know what have you done. I'm more worried about one, how do you join up with friends online? I mean, it would have been fun if you were to be in class because you get to know each other, but now you will have to have online meetings, online conversations. So I want to see how good do you, because that's fundamental character of a manager is how do you interact with colleagues and friends and everybody. So that's one thing that I'll know. Then I also want to know how good are you? Is Saikatsur such a relaxed guy? Or if that is so, I'm sorry, but I see your photos. I'm pulling your leg. Is that I want to see his GF1, Google Forms 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'll know. Is he the real contributor or is he just going along with the group? So that's the reason.
So, sir, one problem what is happening here is I'm Nikhil sir, first of all. And because since each and every one of us work in different timings, a few of us work in night shift, a few of them work in morning shift, it's actually becoming a problem for us to communicate with each other and kind of work in the groups. So we'll have to figure it out how
Nikhil, in all fairness, and very unlike me, I can do nothing other than sympathize.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you think there is an answer for that, which will give you a solution, please let me know and I'm willing to adapt it.
No, sir, was just telling you what
because
is happening.
How could I otherwise do it? You tell me. Yes.
Yeah.
I could on an online class make sure that I break you all for 15 minutes and go stand in the corner and talk among yourselves and do it. But this is a different world, sir.
Yes. Understood.
Hello, sir. This is Dhananjay. What you explain, like the 20 mark for group and the 10 mark for individually, what we will do personally. But in our assignment, is like the 30 total mark we have to do for individual assignment and 30 mark for group assignment. So just I was a bit confused on that.
Which in I don't understand.
Sir, there is a 2 type of assignment in our here course mentioned. So 30 mark for individual assignment and 30 mark for group assignment.
No. Assignment 1 is for 30 marks, correct?
Right, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Assignment 1 is for 30 marks. Assignment 1 has 2 sections or 2 portions. 10 marks will be based on how you answer Google Forms. 20 marks will be how you take up the assignment.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it, sir. So maybe latter part, it will come the assignment 2. It's all the assignment 1 we are doing.
Assignment 1 you'll do. Later part, I don't know. I haven't even decided the later part. Later part, maybe all 30 could be assignment or later part could be only Google Forms. But right now. Srinivasan is happy. He's saying
Sure,
fair.
sir. Got it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So, but when are
Can
we supposed to complete this?
Extended after exam so that we can get some time. Who will answer Anita on my behalf? Who will dare to bell the cat? Anita, you know the answer.
Looking at the assignments, I think I thought that we can get maximum marks from the assignments, even if we are not able to score it in the examinations. But looks like the assignments are taking much more time, and it is even more. It's even more thoughts.
Yeah, I know life is tough. I can only say life is tough.
Sir, one quick question again. Sorry. So we have these two PPTs that we are going to make, major and minor. Do we need to? So first question is, do we need to upload it to LMS?
Yes, 110%.
So all the people in the group should individually upload the same PPT?
Each one of you have to upload, though the content may be the same.
Okay. Next thing is.
But one of you will give me the link for the video. The video will not be uploaded. One of you will give me the link for the video.
So the presentation would be a video recording of all of us.
For 20 marks. Yes. All of you will have to talk, dress yourself formally, stand in front of Zoom, record it, hand it over to each other. I want to see how you coordinate. I want to see how you manage the PPT. I want to see how you support each other.
Sometimes forget to update.
Now,
this has to be done within the group, right, sir? That coordination.
Yes, correct.
And one link for each group that has to be shared.
One
link for each group. That has
one link for the video. One link for the video. Yes.
Okay.
We must follow deadlines. If I'm humble, yes, we are in a new age. What to do? I know now. No longer am I a liked professor. Unfortunately, kya karega?
Sir, by when are we supposed to complete this, sir?
It's mentioned in the
7th is the date. 7th.
It's mentioned in the LMS.
I think 7th is the date, sir.
I think
December 7th.
Yeah, December 6th. It remains until
7th.
Yeah, I think so. But when is your next class?
Next week, sir.
Not next week, or the week after next.
December 5th is our next class.
December 5th is your next class, no?
Yes, sir.
If December 5th is your next class, I cannot make it December 11th as your deadline. Okay, very simple. It's 1 week, or not even 1 week. It's 4 days after my class number 3. Because some part of the assignment I'll have to teach you. Without teaching you, I cannot expect you to do it. So I will be teaching you that in the next class. We'll talk about STP and 4Ps and all that in the next class. And once we are done that, you will be ready to answer.
So Ramesh here, how many, just to give you a brief, right? This is my first class today. For some reasons, I couldn't attend last week's classes. So I know, just wanted to understand how many Google Forms questionnaires are already done. Is it the first one today?
This is 4.
3 already done.
This is 4. And for all of you, you will find it a Word document called Google Forms in the LMS for like you and your other friend who just joined in this morning.
Yeah.
You will go there and pick it up and enter.
Sure. Thank you.
And for both of you, I'm going to extend this very clearly. I hope she's still there. Kurat, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for you and anybody else who joined in, for whom this is a first class, I am willing to spare a 15 minutes conversation on that. Here is what we can do. You guys decide anytime other than Tuesday after 7 in the evening. On Monday also is tough for me. Okay, Monday, I can do a 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. I can do a 30 minutes run through of the class if that slot is, if you guys are okay with it.
Works for me.
Yes, sir. Good to go, sir.
Good to go.
Sir,
So then,
yeah, good to go, sir.
But if any one of the other culprits come in, how do we manage them? The guys who have been sitting in the class.
So it's on a Monday, sir. Is it on a Monday?
I was thinking of a Monday. Do one thing. Okay, I'm going to give you. I'm on the WhatsApp group. I'm going to give you a couple of options. I have a very tight program on Tuesday and Wednesday. I have most of US time. I'm gone. So we'll decide. We'll decide between today and tomorrow. I'll tell you 3 slots, which you guys can decide. And needless to say, it is open. I was just pulling our leg. It is open to everybody who wants to be there. Rajendra, it's open for I was just pulling your leg. You're most welcome to. But what am I going to do is I'm going to run through class 1. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Right.
Sorry for interruption.
Sir,
wait. Shailaja, speak.
Hello. Yeah, even for me, it is today first class. Oh, I was also having the same note, but even I can join, right?
Oh, did I not mention your name? So then you cannot, I think. What do you think? Of course you can, Shailaja. More than happy to have you and teach you. Okay. So I'll tell you what. Honestly, I prefer. What about? I know this is bad, but what about 10 p.m. to 11 p.m.?
Okay for me.
That's a perfect time, sir.
Okay,
That
sir.
works.
That's for me also, sir.
For you also?
On a Monday?
Monday 10 to 11?
Yes, sir. Okay, good.
Yes.
Done. Monday 10 to 11, extra class, 1 hour.
Yes.
And you unmute yourself, no problem. I'll be very tolerant and bombard any questions that you want. All of you are free to attend the class. Only thing is just smile, attend the class, and make sure that whatever doubts that you have till now, I'll clear it for you. More so, I insist that the ones who have been keeping quiet, I want you to talk. Okay? Santosh raises his hand.
Sir, is it possible?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Is it possible we prepone to 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. instead of 10 to 11?
No way, sir. 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's hardcore work time for me.
Same here.
Most of my bosses and most of my clients are busy on that.
Sir, just a free having a Thanksgiving.
So, but I can't do anything about it. But it's not anyway your first class. No, it's not anyway your first class.
No.
So then why bother?
Okay. So sorry, sir. Monday. It's okay. Good.
Sir, the Google Forms we missed earlier. What we can do, sir? Can we submit?
Please answer on my behalf.
It's available
we can
in the
submit.
LMS. You can take it from there.
It'll not be 1 hour. I think we'll do it for 30 minutes. It'll not be 1 hour. Don't worry. I'll make sure that you guys get it.
Sir, I think
Sir, anyways, the sessions are recorded. So what we'll do before
You are the only guy. You are the only guy who has not sent. I have already got 83 answers.
what? I was listening to you.
But they are doing multitasking, typical managers to be. What do you say, Srinivasan and Rukmini? Haven't you all submitted?
No, you're pulling my leg.
Okay, good. You got 15 more minutes to submit. I'll go to open that.
We are yet to get out of your class, sir.
Yeah. So you got 5.
Okay, sir.
Okay, 5:15 is the deadline, but I'm seriously not going to take it. This has to be done before you get up from your desk.
Sure.
That's the way it works. Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir. See you.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye, sir. Take care.